Hi, everyone. Welcome to Bree's Practical English podcast. So, I just decided to do this kind of on a whim. So, I've been trying to come up with ways to keep up with my lessons on YouTube and Facebook while having a small daughter at home. And I thought this would be a really good way to get you some listening practice in a very casual way. And it's a little bit easier for me. I don't have to get my regular setup ready. So it looks effortless, but it actually takes a little bit of time to set up the lighting and everything like that. And of course, I have to get dressed and put on some makeup and brush my hair. And when you have a little baby at home, sometimes you can't do that. So I thought this would be the best way. So I think the format for these podcasts are going to be really chill, very casual, I think. I'm not going to have a specific theme for each podcast, but I think I'm just going to talk about what's going on in my life or things that I've seen or experienced, and I want to share that with you guys. So in today's podcast, I really want to get your opinion on something. Something that I witnessed last weekend, actually. So let me explain a little bit about what happened. I had just taken my daughter to an adventure park in a shopping mall. It was a lot of fun. She loved it. And my husband and I had lunch, and we were about to go home. And we live in Tokyo, so there's always a lot of people around. We were exiting the shopping mall, which is attached to the station. And it was very crowded. It was a weekend, so lots of people around. And I happened to notice a family walking in front of us. There was a small child, probably about 6 or 7, and it seemed like there were 2 older couples, maybe a grandma and grandpa, and maybe their daughter or daughter-in-law and husband. I'm not sure. I don't know their relationship, but I saw this family walking in front of us. I didn't think anything of it until I noticed something. There was a long trail of toilet paper coming out of the older woman's pants, almost down to the floor. Not quite down to the floor, but almost. I immediately thought, oh my gosh, I need to tell her that she can't walk through the station like that. That's so embarrassing. I immediately got my husband's attention. We both saw it. And I said, I have to go say something to her. I've got to tell her she has toilet paper hanging out of her pants. And I was pushing my daughter's stroller, and it was very crowded. And I just felt secondhand embarrassment. So if you don't know, secondhand embarrassment is when you feel very embarrassed for someone else. So I had really bad secondhand embarrassment. I felt like I was going to start sweating. I just felt so bad for her. But as I was about to go and tell her, lots of people were passing in front of me, but the family stopped near the exit of the shopping mall and into the station. And they were saying goodbye to each other, and it sounded like they knew each other, but I don't know their relationship. I didn't know if they were family or not family. I didn't know their relationship. And I thought, oh my gosh, if I tell her right now, what is she going to do about it? because it would be in front of these other people that she was with. It'd be in front of this little girl and this woman's husband. And she's in a train station full of people. If I told her, what would she do? How could I tell her in a way that wouldn't embarrass her? And I just froze, and I missed my chance to tell her. And I felt really guilty about that. But I don't know which is better. To tell her and then for her to be embarrassed in front of everyone and have to run to the bathroom, or go home and find it herself at some point and be embarrassed later. I don't know if anyone else noticed. So if I told her, maybe then everyone would notice what was happening. I don't know what the right thing was in that moment. So that's where I want your opinion. I want your opinion. What would you do in that case? Would you have told her? Would you have run up to her? It doesn't matter who she's with, how crowded the area is. Would you run up and tell her? Or would you not? Would you just let her go home and discover it for herself? I felt extremely bad, but now that I look back on it, I think there was no good way I could tell her. This isn't the first time this has happened to me, actually, a few years ago. I think it was probably 2019. My husband and I were at a local izakaya. So we were at an izakaya is a kind of restaurant bar. So we were at an izakaya near our home, and we saw a group of guys drinking near us. And it seemed like one of them was probably new to the company. It looked like they were coworkers, and probably one was new to the company. And they had taken him out for drinks to get to know him or welcome him. And he went to the bathroom and came back. And my husband and I just noticed that he had a trail of toilet paper hanging out from his pants. I don't exactly know how this happens. I don't know what people are doing that they have so much toilet paper that it literally is hanging out of their pants. I don't know if that's ever happened to you. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but I've seen it twice in my life. And my husband and I, we both felt secondhand embarrassment. We felt so embarrassed for this other guy that we don't know. And it was a crowded bar, a crowded izakaya. He was with his coworkers, his new coworkers. And if we told him right there, we would just embarrass him so much. So we kept waiting for the right time. And finally, I think he was with two other people, his other two coworkers. I think they both got up to go to the bathroom, or one got up to go to the bathroom and one went to pay the bill. And we had our chance. I pretended like I didn't know what was going on because I think it would be more embarrassing if a woman told him. So I pretended just to be looking at my phone, not knowing what was happening. And my husband tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Hey, you have some toilet paper hanging out of your pants. You should probably go check that." He was very grateful, very embarrassed, but he was able to quickly run to the restroom, he was luckily sitting right by the restroom, and he was able to take care of it. In that situation, we were lucky because we had an opening. We had an open time where no one was around and we could explain and save him the embarrassment. Last weekend's incident, I'm not so sure. I don't think there was a clear opening. But please leave in the comments what you would do. And if this has ever happened to you, if you've ever seen it in public before, or if you want to share a story where it happened to you and someone helped you out, please share that as well. I just want to know what you would do. Okay, so I think that is the topic of today's first podcast. Let me know. And you can also let me know what you think of this podcast format. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Maybe I can get some guests on sometimes, and you can listen to a real-life English conversation. So I guess that's it for today's podcast. Come back for the next one, probably pretty soon. All right, guys, that's it for today's podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you in our next lesson. Bye, everyone.